No. I got one. Okay. That turn that down. What? And you need to turn this down too. That is way too loud. You guys got like 5 more minutes, okay? Did you brush your teeth, Nat? Okay. Nat, I know. One or the other, not both. You know this. So what are you talking about, Bear? Come. Yep. I'll turn it off tonight when we go back. Mommy and I walked down to the mailbox, so we wanted some light. All right, girls, it's bedtime. Nice axe.
could have won. I had the stats to win, but yeah, it's just guaranteed lose. I think I was the strongest player in that lobby if my order didn't... Well, my order didn't suck. I just didn't realize he had massive taunts with a big cleave. Oh well. TD like the bank, thank you for the 39-month resub. Golden Gust for 16. UT for 5. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. So I had a chance the other night to sit down with Dean Hall of DayZ fame, as well as the founder of RocketWorks, creating a new game called Icarus that I've covered in the past on the channel. Icarus is a session-based PvE survival game for up to 8 co-op players or solo. The game is currently set to launch on August 12th, according to their Steam page. And a lot of the conversation surrounding Icarus is the fact that Dean Hall, because he left, or what some people say abandoned, DayZ standalone back in 2014, that they are very uncertain of the future of a game like Icarus, being that it's being made by the same guy. I had an open and honest conversation with him. We tried to play some of Icarus. We actually ran into a couple of bugs. I'm not cutting out anything from that conversation. It's going to start from as soon as he jumped into the Discord call with me to the moment he left. And I'm going to have timestamps for every single question that I got to ask, as well as some conversations that we had on other topics that I actually didn't plan for. I thought it was a very open conversation, and I asked him some pretty hard questions in regards to his past with DayZ as well.
Seriously?
as well as the future of Icarus, and I asked him to actually respond to some of the criticisms that a lot of you guys have laid out, as well as myself have laid out in the past. I don't really do a lot of interviews, so this was something a little bit brand new to me. But the gameplay session as well as the conversation went on for about an hour and a half now, so it's basically a podcast at this point. If you guys like the video, leave a like on it, subscribe for more. I'm excited for Icarus. I got a chance to play around with it before. Obviously, we ran into some bugs, and you guys are going to get a little bit of insight into how Dean Hall kind of looks at game development and some of the stuff that he's learned from DayZ Standalone. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.
I'm actually downloading the beta on my PC now, so we've got a little bit of time to just talk,
Awesome.
which actually is kind of better for me because I found it really hard to talk and play the game at the same time.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure.
You're totally fine to record all this too. I'm sure someone's told you that.
Yeah, Lori told me that I could record. I had started recording just before, just to make sure all my levels
Awesome.
are right. So.
That's correct.
Cool.
I'm actually a huge fan. And what's really funny is, so I watch all your videos, but you know how weird YouTube's algorithm is?
Yeah.
One of the videos I missed was your Icarus video.
Oh, awesome.
Because I'd been watching all the Earth 2 stuff, and I'd seen your past stuff. Because you're sort of into a lot of the kind of games that I am.
Sure.
So, and I don't get a lot of time to play as many games as I want, because I'm often making them. So people like yourself or Sid Alpha, are creators that I follow.
Yeah, I love Sid
And
Alpha.
I love those, like Death of a Game, and I love those really detailed deep dives. And actually, I often say to people who are messaging me about getting into game development or that, I'm like, go do those deep dives, because it's so easy to upset a player base without even being like a bad dev.
Right.
So you really have to go through and be very careful. And you can even see this with Icarus. So originally we hadn't planned on publishing this ourselves. Before COVID and all that, we'd planned on developing the game and working with a publisher for good reason. It's very complicated to message a game, to price a game,
Sure.
even just putting it on Steam and stuff like that. And I think we've done a pretty good job of getting out there. We've had great wish lists, our Discord is really good, but that's a testament to how hard the team's working, and we sort of stumble sometimes. A great example would be we were developing our infographics to say, this is the deluxe edition of the game, and we said the deluxe edition comes with these 2 outposts, but of course we forgot that we weren't saying that, you actually get an outpost with the base game.
Right.
So, that, and that's just an example that's so easy to fall into these little traps. So we thought, we're being good by, we don't want the infographic explaining the differences to be too complicated, but that can actually end up being a bad thing. So I really enjoy these kind of deep dives, and I hope, and you talking with me, and stuff like that, none of this is predicated on you just talking positively. I thought your video on Icarus was really good, because it was like, hey, there's some cool and interesting stuff we're doing, but here's some things that are a concern, or that we should watch. And I just think that's a super healthy thing.
Oh, for sure. And like a game like this is something that like I've wanted for a long time, something set in a sci-fi universe like this. When I first saw the first cohort trailer you guys released, Interstellar vibes automatically. So I was like, this is something to watch,
Well, and Interstellar is one of the couple of games that couple of movies that make me cry. So
Right.
I love Interstellar. What I would say is, and you'll see this going in, there's heap more that we would have wanted to do, but there's been a lot of restraint as we've gone in, and that's extremely deliberate, because my experiences with DayZ Standalone from going to the mod is just trying to be really careful about what we choose to do. And that's why people are like, why don't you have crazy aliens and all of these things?
Right.
We do want to get into that, but we really wanted to stick and deliver a good experience at each step. I'd rather people play the game and go, oh, I wish there was a bit more, but at least what was there run really well.
Right.
So that's been challenging, you know, and I guess that's the nature of game development, isn't it?
Sure.
So, you know, there was a billion things we wanted to do and add into the game, but for me, one of the most important things, and it was one of our 5 pillars, was that the game scales really well. So, you know, it handles the experience. I don't want to sort of you know, crap on other people's products, but I'll use our own. So, you know, Stationeers, we've had a lot of problem as we've gone through getting that game to handle scale. As you build your base, you know, the game starts to break down. We're working away at it, but I think we've, with Icarus, tried to start from the start and say, okay, how do we handle this scale? Let's make a game where you can chop down all the trees, where you can mine all the rocks. But obviously that's been a, you know, somewhat complicated process.
Right. I'm definitely excited to jump in. I was just kind of playing around with like the main menu, kind of created a character and looked around at like, you know, the inventory and stuff like that. But I'm definitely keen on jumping in and just kind of feeling the game for myself. I'm actually really excited for this.
I'm almost downloaded.
Cool.
I just, because I'm really into your content, I want to make sure that there is time for you to ask all the awesome questions
For
that
sure.
you do. And I'll preface it as well with, so when we first announced the game sort of properly to the world, all these questions came back.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when this happened with DayZ Standalone, and I remember what my response was. And my response was to feel a little attacked. And you kind of doubled down a bit. This time it was very different. I remember we sat down and I said to the team, we need to do 2 things. We need offline play, and we need, I was calling them outposts. We need a like endless session mode. And it caused a pretty big, not drama, but you know, it was a major thing for us to deal with, because those were 2 things we hadn't planned on, and in fact we'd actually planned against. So we had to reframe and change tack with the project. But we did, and I think the project's really much better for it. And that's where I think, that's why I encourage people who make games to watch channels like yours, Sid Alpha and that, because I think by going through and taking real sober assessments of your game, you can make a better game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of time when it comes to like criticism, a lot of people just like to chalk it up to just people being haters. But I mean, I know just for my whole life, I've always wanted games to just be the best they could possibly be. You know, sometimes, yeah, it's a little bit hard. Harsh, a little bit sobering, like you said, but I like to give games a shot and then see them kind of live out their whole potential. Because I'm not a game dev myself, but I know how hard you guys fucking work, right? I hope you don't mind if
Yeah.
I swear in this or not, but
Oh no, I'm
yeah,
the same.
okay,
Yeah, definitely. I think as well. Some people say if I get this feedback and I can't action it, then I should attack it. And I think that's not true either. I think what you can do is accept the feedback and say yes, and maybe even say, hey, if I was doing the project again, I might do this differently.
sure,
But that doesn't invalidate the feedback just because the project can't do it. So that happens a lot. So each week we play Icarus, and our design team's called the vision team, because our teams are cross-functional. So the design team's not just designers, so we call it the vision team.
right.
We sit down in a locked room and sort of gloves are off, and we just tear the game to pieces. And it can get pretty heated, but we come out of there and there might be a bunch of things we're like, oh, well, this thing's terrible. We don't like this in the game. And we might be like, okay, well, we can't change those bits. How do we maybe de-emphasize those and that? So, yeah, I think for me, it's I don't know what Steam's doing. It seems to be just finalizing the last bit of
yeah,
it. So
yeah.
should be a couple more minutes.
For sure. One thing I did want to ask, coming from
Mhm.
DayZ standalone, the zombie survival, everyone says it's so saturated. What was your guys's like I guess largest inspiration? Why the large like tonal shift to like a sci-fi universe? Was this something you always wanted to make?
Oh, I just love sci-fi, and actually I'll probably hark back to the original, I suppose, genesis of Icarus was when we first demoed DayZ standalone to actual customers at Gamescom. Might have been 2014 or something. And we previously demoed the game at E3, but that was just industry people. And you know how people in the industry, everyone's sort of just positive and that kind of stuff. But when we demoed it to the customers, I realized the mistakes that I'd made. I'd got really obsessed with hacking, which is good, right? We should all agree it shouldn't be hackers. But I think in hindsight, and this decision rests purely with me, um, I should have gone out and pushed for us to do better whitelisting and stuff like that. Have more server management tools and more modding. That at its core, the community was what was the best thing about DayZ Mod.
Yep.
100%. If you think about it, if you look at it, it was the community who run the servers. It was the community who run the databases.
Yeah.
And it was the community who were actually able to police themselves to control hackers and stuff like that better by like focusing on running everything authoritative on the server. It meant we could do a lot less, because DayZ Mod's kind of genius was it would get like each client to run 100 zombies, which sort of spread the load amongst clients. But yeah, so I feel like I almost sort of wandered off your question a bit
No,
there.
it's fine.
But yeah, the original genesis was this thought experiment of, hey, what would a game look like if I removed some of the problems? Science fiction setting allows us to approach the game in sort of two ways. We simultaneously get to introduce these kind of magical, cool technologies, but at the same time, we do get to explore being that prospector and showing you sort of familiar stuff. So really, we needed to do both, because I felt like there wasn't a connection between my survival experiences that I was having. And that was really what DayZ was at the start, right? DayZ was, you have this character and the character stays alive and you can go into different servers. And so Icarus is kind of that extension of the thought of persistence. Rather than making the survival session persistent over a long period of time, why don't we make you and your character's progress persistent? but have the sessions as a little bit more temporary.
Right.
And I suppose that's the experiment. And I can't sit here and tell you that it's going to be huge and amazing. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I think the idea of persistent characters, I'm seeing like it looks like we have like a global inventory and a loadout system that's like outside of the drops. I think that actually makes people care for their characters more. In theory, that's how I feel. You're bringing stuff back from drops, and now you're able to actually do stuff outside of that game world and upside. What do you call this? Like your space station up here, where we're kind of floating around.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. But look, I think a lot of it is going to come down to, and you alluded to this very well in your video, how much content can we get in? As we go, I'd really like to talk through as well some of the areas we got like wrong, but not in a bad way. When you start out with a project, you think certain things are going to be good about it.
Sure.
And then you discover some of that's not true, but you also discover a bunch of other things along the way that you didn't realize were maybe going to be fun or that. First question is, though, do we want to resume or try resuming a prospect that I previously have been working on, or do you want to start a new one completely from scratch?
You know what? I'll let that kind of be up to you. If you think that there's is there some stuff down on the planet that to show off or stuff like that? Can we actually like go in and explore some housing and
what I'm
building?
doing right now is I'm going into that prospect and I'll just have a look.
Okay.
There is one bug I've been told to just double check when I host, because
Sure.
we're playing quite a live version of the game. But yeah, we'll wait and see how this prospect loads, and if there's a problem with it, I'll just make a new one.
Sure.
But while it's loading in, so initially we thought that everything right from the word go was going to focus on mining these exotics, right? So the exotics is what you use to buy stuff that you get to keep between sessions.
Okay.
But it's really complicated to teach people that. You need to know all the other mechanics of the game. And while it is a survival game in that, like, there are sort of challenges with it or whatever. So, what we discovered was it's actually really fun to just level up your character and survive. I mean, it was one of our pillars, right? It was like the core survival mechanics should be fun. So that was one part of it. And then, so what we've sort of done is we've teased that out a bit. So we're trying to provide this progression for your character. So that if you imagine your first 10 levels are just going to be focused on, hey, you're learning about Icarus the planet, you're learning about surviving, and you're also formulating who your character is and what they're going to be. What I think I might get us to just do the experience from the start, because I feel like you should see the whole.
Sure.
Going in and seeing like a stone building or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think we've got a much gentler progression than we originally thought, and we haven't done a great job of explaining what a session-based survival game is. And so I think we're getting better at doing that. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be a short, sharp drop. It might mean that it's one that's several weeks long.
And that time continues even while you're offline, correct? Like when you
The
say
drop
several weeks,
time
it's,
does.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that's maybe a little bit contentious, but we felt it was important to have this. You're not sort of able to game the system, I guess. Okay, I will find us one here. Forest biome, accuracy explanation. Oh yeah, accuracy explanation here. Exploration. Here we go. So I will just run this up, and then you should.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'll
I
let
see
you know
it.
when you should be able to join. Just give me a second
Sure.
though. I've got a There's apparently I have to leave it for a little bit. There's a bug where I'll spawn in on top of a mountain, and apparently I have to run to the side of it.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like I've watched a lot of your guys' live streams, and I always see you guys like down on the planet. But I was always so curious about what it looked like when we kind of pulled out and actually extracted. So just being able to kind of run around here has been nice.
Yeah, definitely. We've de-emphasized the station a little bit for now.
Yeah.
That sort of thematically fits with the idea of the first cohort. So
Sure.
you're the people who were there to terraform the planet, and they've just discovered this extremely valuable resource. So you're kind of not, you're not prepared. The stations that were in orbit were not designed for this purpose. And I wanted a game that felt like it was growing with me in it. And I'm not suggesting that we're heading in this trajectory, but that just reminds me of like, Ultima Online and that, where it felt like the game was progressing with us. And I think, I'm not saying that we're going to be that to that level, but I think we at least want a sense of that. And that's the idea behind the chapters. First cohort is about surviving on the planet and stuff like that.
And so when you say chapters, do you kind of mean like the future kind of DLCs that are planned, Dangerous Horizons and New Frontiers? Those are new chapters in this game. Is that kind of what you guys are going for?
Exactly.
Got
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Okay, looks like I'm just loading here.
So with this kind of like Earth view with all the different drops, will we be able to see every single person who's actually hosting a game like you are here?
We're trying to make it smart, so there is a button that you can go to bring up a more traditional server browser.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we'll be a lot more measured with it.
Cool.
Yeah, I should be good. So you should be able to join my session.
Okay. Let's see here. So
It'll be Rocket 2 Guns.
Yeah. Status. Okay. Join prospect. Let's see.
I'm just going to change my field of view. The game settings reset, so got to make sure I've got NVIDIA's global illumination. Definitely make sure you've got NVIDIA DLSS turned on if you've got an NVIDIA card.
I believe I do. Let me go to my settings here. Yeah, I do. Perfect. Okay.
Now
where am I here?
When you come in, I get to hear this awesome sonic boom.
I actually
which
died.
I can't wait for. You died coming in?
Yeah, it put me unconscious. I'm in the middle of the sky right now.
Got it. You just have to respawn, and you should respawn. So that was the same bug that I experienced. They did warn me about that.
Gotcha. Okay,
just as we've been
here.
moving to our production environment, there's been a few. I think they wanted to make sure they put us on this new build though, because there was some. As we've made changes to the context menu, it kind of broke things.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I'm dropping in now.
Now, the only potential challenge is we might be at, we're at slightly different locations. So we will have to find each other. I mean, it's kind of good because we've sort of simulated us getting lost.
Yeah.
So, because we've had to respawn, so I'm going to start running north.
Can I see you on the map?
You can see my drop location.
Gotcha.
So if you see, I'm like the next. So if you head north,
okay,
you're going to have to listen out for bears as you're running along. Pick up some, stone rock. I mean, you've seen a lot of the deep streams and that. So as we're running along, we'll basically try and start building at that lake. So of course, normally we wouldn't have to find each other, but this is actually going to be a kind of cool little challenge.
Yeah, I'm just gathering some, what are these ferns right here?
And yeah, as you level up, probably make sure you unlock some stuff, because you're going to want to get a wood bow and stuff like that ready.
Perfect. Okay.
And I'm going to craft, one of the first things to craft is a stone pickaxe for sure. That allows you to mine stone, because picking up stone rocks is a bit of a chore.
Okay, so okay, yeah, now it's in my one slot. Can I? Okay, I just need some stone here. Okay, game's gorgeous, actually.
Yeah, it's like we're super fortunate. Like Nvidia, we've actually got a formal partnership with Nvidia. So they actually have engineers who like look at our game and look at their cards, and they come back to us with huge lists of, okay, we're adding this feature. Can you do this? And the same with Unreal actually. Epic have been just fantastic about we actually give them access to our source control, and they turn around and are like, you should do this, you should do that, and we're like, okay.
That's actually okay. So I just leveled up. Now let me see here. So if I go tab, that would be my talents. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And that we're not finished. Where there was a suggestion for us to make a solo tree. So there's 3 broad areas at the moment: survival, construction, and combat, and each of them have 2 to 3 things underneath them.
Got you. Okay. Well, let's go survival first then. And let's try there, Swift Stalker. Cool.
This is going to sound weird, and I copped a bit of flack for it in the team, but I actually wanted you to feel overwhelmed when you open those things up, because that's what I wanted. I want a survival game where it's like, oh my god, these are all these options I have to grow this character.
Sure.
And this is your first 10 levels are purely focused on character. I still feel like the game is a little fast. You can basically get to level 12 within a couple of hours. I think I'd like us to slow that down just a touch.
Yeah, just me grabbing some bushes and rocks. Like I'm level 2 already. It did feel fast even going right there.
Yeah, it scales a bit because we sort of wanted you to get your first couple of levels so that you sort of know what's happening when you're still very fresh.
Sure.
And you get used to that idea of, oh, I should do this or that.
Okay, so I'm heading
right.
into O12. Let me cut back to N12 here. There's a big mountain in front of me, so.
Oh, yeah, you will be able to get, if you're on the left of it, you'll be able to get through that pass, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm on the right side of it. You want me to go to the left and kind of curve around and...
Oh, no, you can just go to the
Okay.
to the right side's probably easier.
Yeah.
You're actually moving a bit faster than I am. I've gotten very distracted. I'll start hightailing it. This will be good because I haven't actually been into this area that we're heading to.
Oh, what is that? Something... What was that?
Yeah, make sure you have a weapon.
I have an axe.
Hopefully. Oh, no, you make a bow and probably a spear as well. And listen out for bears. Bears are probably going to be just death for us at the moment. Wolves will be okay against.
Okay. So one thing I did want to ask, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see it at the early levels, but I want to see vehicle gameplay because I'm very curious to see how vehicle handling is in this game.
So it's funny because we did vehicles, and then we realized that they sort of break the game at the idea of first cohort. So vehicles will come in later on, and that fits narratively with the idea of, we wanted you to be the first prospectors in the safer areas of the planet, and the pacing is about sort of, slowly moving across the terrain. I think about Satisfactory and games like that, how you move through these kind of evolutions of the gameplay. So initially, the game is going to be about like person logistics.
Gotcha.
And then the idea is later on, once you've leveled up and stuff like that, because there's so much we have to teach you already that we don't want to kind of have to then introduce a whole bunch of complicated vehicle stuff like, moving containers from this truck to the next.
Right.
We wanted it to feel, we want the vehicles to feel quite a lot like SnowRunner or MudRunner. Not necessarily in terms of the terrain, like getting stuck in mud and stuff, because obviously that's very cool, but not super achievable on this scale. But definitely in terms of the logistics of moving stuff around, forklifts to move this from this to that, and how am I going to get this to this zone. And particularly because of the building mechanics we've done in terms of structural integrity. Like actually, if you drive at the moment a vehicle on a bridge and the bridge can't handle that weight, it actually breaks.
Oh wow.
But we're not going to have vehicle in for the first cohort. We just we want to make sure we do it really well, and oh god, I think I've run up to a cliff here. I haven't run off it, but how do I get down? I'm just
Okay, so
gonna
I gotta go from wood pile to wood bow to stone arrow. Gotcha. Okay, so then,
you shouldn't need to unlock wood pile. No, you should just be
oh,
able to
I
go
see.
straight.
Okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
moved. Yeah, I'm going up down. This is actually moving horizontal. Right. Okay. So stone arrow. So one thing I did want to talk about was your guys' choice to kind of do a full release game outside of early access, because obviously DayZ and I think Stationeers is also early access as well.
Yep.
What made you guys decide to go full release here?
Well, I mean, I get hounded by people about early access
Sure.
stuff, and it always surprises me because people will simultaneously be angry that something's been in early access for a long time, and then angry when people pull the game out of early access. I hope I'm working on Stationeers for the next decade, or this game. Like, for me, as long as progress is being made, and with Stationeers, we have done an update at least every month
Sure.
for 3 years, and I mean sizable updates. So for me, I think what we want to deliver with Icarus is a polished experience that's very targeted, and we can avoid early access by saying things like, right, okay, we're going to focus the game on doing this piece, and then we'll bring in, say, vehicles or something later on. And that's sort of been our approach, which I think is working really well for us.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest. One of my questions was about the performance. I'm kind of running around here, and I'm actually really impressed.
We've really only just been getting started. So if there's even a little stutter, our tech lead, Ben Carnell, who literally wrote a book on Unreal Engine game development, maybe that's something that breaks my heart a lot when people are like, a Dean Hall game or whatever. They don't realize that there's 70 people working on this game.
Sure.
Many of the team came from Path of Exile, so Grinding and Scav Games, who made Path of
cool.
Exile. Martin, our program.
The mutant, it's my new favorite gun.
People don't put the 2 and 2 together, where it's like, what's the videos on YouTube right now that are doing the best early wipe? How to make money. What's the best way to make money? Craft stuff the Chads
Not
want
kill the
and
same
sell it to
car.
them. But then you get mad that they kill you with it. Like you,
I went to do a raid and I just get insta-killed by all these
everybody's
guys running the best stuff.
Everybody's got 995 and M61. Well, you're crafting it and selling it to them.
I completed another one. What did I complete? All right.
блядь, кажи, сука!
many raids do I have? 178. What's that fucking blue stem called? Yeah, thermals. The thing that everybody thinks is a problem without it being remotely possible that they could even know it was a problem by definition. Henry, how did you know? Oh, so it must not have been that OP. Which is exactly my point. The only way you could know is if you kill them and loot it, and then in that case, is it really that OP?
Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I just wanted to show my escape from Tarkov settings. These are the best settings for FPS, and I just wanted to make this video before the patch 12.11 comes out, so we have the most advantage over everyone else. Okay, let's start. First one, health color scheme. Colored, that makes it so when your character is hurt and up here, the body parts is not grey, it's painted red, yellow or green depending on your health. Here, auto RAM cleaner. You should try this out if you have 8 gigabytes of RAM, if it helps your stuttering. I have it off because I have 16, but that's almost too little. So I would recommend minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM on Escape from Tarkov. Use only the physical cores. This gives me like 5 to 10 FPS depending on the map, so I would recommend keeping that on. But you could try in game with on and off, but I get like 5 to 10 FPS. Down here, FOV, that's how much you can see field of view. It's like, show you a video right here, the difference. This is 50 field of view, you don't see a lot, and this is 75. In my opinion 75 is too much, I keep it on 62. Head bobbing, keep that on the lowest, because when you run your character will not move as much up and down. Let's go here to graphics. Screen resolution, I have mine on 1440p because my monitor supports that. I would guess you guys have a 1080p monitor if you don't know, and you should know if you have a 1440p, but pick the highest you can. Screen mode, full screen, and here if you want to have an uncapped FPS, use VSync here, and later I can show you how you could uncap your FPS. Okay, let's move on. Texture quality I keep on high, makes 0 to no difference in performance. Shadow quality low, object LOD quality 2, and this overall visibility, I would say this is one of the most important ones. It's the draw distance. I keep mine on 400, but I would like to have it on 1000, but when I have it on 400 I get like, no joke, 15 FPS sometimes. So yeah, yes, experiment with that. Go anywhere from 400 to maximum of 1500, but I keep mine on 400 anyways. Shadow visibility, how many meters you can see shadows. So this is 40 meters, 45, 50, etc. Keep that on the lowest for best performance. Anti-aliasing, TAA. I don't think there's any difference between TAA and TAA high, so I just keep it on TAA. Resampling, don't touch that. Or if you have super poor performance, you could have it on 0.5, but that makes the game look really bad. I can show you here. This is 0.5 and this is 1. This is like ambient occlusion, keep that off. Screen space reflections off. Anisotropic filtering off. Sharpness, that's a preference thing for you. I keep mine on 1.1. I would say don't go below 1, because the lower you go the blurrier the picture, and the higher you go it gets like super bad up here. So I would say somewhere between 1 and 1.5 is good. Here lobby FPS limit 60 and game FPS limits 144. But if you stick around I can show you, as I said with VSync, how you can uncap it and get more than 144. And down here I would say keep all of these off except this one. That just makes a blur on your gun. It doesn't really take up any FPS. Now post effects, this is also preference with your monitor and how you like your game. I have clarity 30, color finesse 35 and color grading Cognac. That makes the game a bit more like reddish. So on like very green maps you could be able to spot someone a little bit more easily, but it don't really make that much of a difference. Okay, and to access your NVIDIA apps you could be able to spot someone a little bit more easily, but it don't really make that much of a difference. Okay, and to access your green maps,
А вот тут кореш мой бывал точно.
you could be able to spot you. And then up here, press on now.
Что у нас тут происходит? Так, у меня у прапора ёба.